So we have some breaking news that former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder may finally be facing some accountability for what he did to the water in Flint, Michigan. There are charges being laid against him. Now, this is very preliminary reporting from the Associated Press, but I want to read some of it to you and then get back to the significance. It notes here, former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, his health director, and other ex-officials have been told they're being charged after a new investigation of the Flint water scandal, which devastated the majority black city with lead-contaminated water and was blamed for a deadly outbreak of Legionnaire's disease in 2014-15, the AP has learned. Two people with knowledge of the planned prosecution told the AP on Tuesday that the Attorney General's office has informed defense lawyers about indictment in Flint and told them to expect initial appearances soon. They spoke to the AP on a condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. The AP could not determine the nature of the charges against Snyder, former Department health official Nick Leon, and others who were in the Snyder administration. The Attorney General's office declined to comment on details of the ongoing investigation. Spokeswoman Courtney Covington Watkins and investigators were quote-unquote working diligently and will share more as soon as we're in a position to do so. And Snyder and his team have not commented. This is good news. Now we have to wait to see what are the charges. Are they going to be slap on the wrist? Are they significant? How seriously are officials in Michigan going to take the case? All of those things are important. But for a brief moment here, there may be accountability for a rich, wealthy, white politician doing something that harmed a working class black community. And that is very rare in American history, because let's be real, what Flint symbolized was an utter disregard for the black working class, for poor people, for marginalized people, by those that took for granted basic human needs like water. And Flint has a lot of other struggles around education and, good housing, safe housing. This is a community that struggles because it's been left behind by those with the power to do better. And I don't want this to be just about Rick Snyder. We have to be real. Democrats failed here too. Democrats at the federal level here failed too. Barack Obama failed. He failed when he tried to pass it off as fine when he had a tiny sip of one glass of water, to totally misrepresent the situation that even if that was a real glass of Flint water, he's not drinking it every day. He's not cooking his food in it. He's not washing his clothes with it. He's not doing those things with it. Like Obama here failed too. And we have to also be clear that Joe Biden has to show some accountability as well, because Joe Biden was VP during that time. And crucially, during this recent presidential election, Joe Biden accepted the endorsement of Rick Snyder. He didn't just get an endorsement. He got an endorsement from Rick Snyder, a union-busting, water-poisoning, black community-destroying Republican governor. And he accepted it too, all because it was part of the anti-Trump bandwagon. He took the endorsement of every Republican ghoul he could get, some of them more ghoulish than others, and Rick Snyder is definitely far along on the ghoul scale, and he took his endorsement, despite all he did to harm people in Michigan, with Flint and other places. And so if you want to attach yourself to somebody when they can be of political value to you, you have a responsibility to speak when they fail. And so I want to hear from Joe Biden. Why did you accept the endorsement of a man that harmed this marginalized community with something as basic as water? Guys, I don't always talk about Canadian stories on this channel, even though I am a Canadian, but the biggest single crisis, if you can, maybe make one out in Canada, the biggest single humanitarian crisis is that so many Indigenous people, Native peoples in Canada, don't have good water. In many cases, you have communities that have had to boil their water for 20 years and more. They've gone generations without knowing what clean, safe water is. And Flint is a microcosm of that, 100%. It is a fundamental devaluation of the people living there. It is dehumanizing them. And if Rick Snyder does face consequences, and if everyone who supported or accepted the support of Rick Snyder gets consequences, we'll be better off. I am skeptical, but for the first time in a long time, I'm a little bit hopeful that maybe someone will finally pay for the lives they ruined in Flint.